That's us recording, I think.
Do we need to do 1098 or anything?
No, not for this one. You said it last recording. It does look terribly professional when you say it. So here I am, fresh from the gym. Happy New Year to you.
Allow me to be the first to wish you the very happiest of Happy New Years.
You're not. I've had loads of Happy New Years. And actually, from our lovely listeners on Twitter and email and stuff like that. So that's gorgeous. Thank you all.
Are you saying that I didn't actually send you a Happy New Year greeting on New Year's Eve or whenever?
Well, I got a dick pic. Was it you?
No, I don't know.
I couldn't tell.
Did you recognise it?
It was very small. No, I did not. Let me just put it out there for the record. There were no DPs. It was more falling asleep on the sofa kind of New Year for me. And now I'm down the gym with a cold. Oh, and Ben's got COVID, everyone.
I haven't actually.
He told me not to cough and splutter.
I've still got the bitter taste of failure in my mouth.
Oh, good. Don't let it leave. Keeps you motivated. Look, got a box of tissues to hand.
I can still sniff out a phony.
I can sniff out a phono.
And what I also know is what we're going to talk about today. Oh, by the way,
who are you?
I'm Ben.
And who are we? And what are we doing here?
Actually, do you know what? I can't even say this anymore. I used to, for the whole of the last year, I introduced myself by saying I'm Ben Andor, I'm a former BBC reporter. And although that's not strictly untrue, it's actually now over a year since I left the BBC. And in a way that after a year, people who've got married can no longer be referred to as newlyweds.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah, that's true.
That's a weird thing to know.
I think the ex-Mrs. A told me about a year after we were married back in...
I bet she did.
But in the same way that newlyweds can't do that, I'm not entirely sure I should keep trying to milk the BBC thing, because that's gone, that's done, it's over a year ago.
The thing is, it's quite relevant. It's much more relevant than all the nothing you do now.
But okay, but then maybe that's why people shouldn't listen to me then, because I'm just a nothing.
Oh, well, that'll sell us well then, won't it? No, the thing is, though, how many years were you at the BBC for?
Okay, I was at the BBC for 15 years. I was at ITN for 11 years. I was at the wonderful Radio Trent in Nottingham for 3 years.
How long were you at Hot FM for?
And I was at Northants Radio, the Hot FM, for 1 year. When I was a trainee. In total, I did nearly 32 years as a reporter.
Well, it's really quite relevant to a true crime podcast.
Yeah, okay.
Or vidcast. Vidcast. Who I am.
Yeah.
Who am I? I'm Victoria Mitzi. I still count myself as a journalist, even though I pootle around and have to do other stuff for money. But once a journalist, always a journalist, I think. Look at how nosy you are.
Yeah, that's true. I'm very, very nosy. And I do still write. That's a fair point.
All journalists are completely insane, psychopathic tendencies, and very nosy. So you can't really change from that. Have you seen that thing? There's one of those viral thingy-majiggies that they have putting a newsreader in a job interview, and they sit down and they go, "Are you doing the finger at me there?" I can spot it. I can spot it a mile off.
Notice.
And the newsreader sits down and goes, "Hi, it's 12:22," and they just can't stop the newsreader from talking like that. That's journalists; they just can't stop. Yeah,
journalists, and also all journalists, I think, are cripplingly unself-aware.
That's the one. Especially when they love a bit of self-promotion. And that's us, really. That's what we're doing here. Yeah. What are we talking about today? We're talking about death row a bit, because something's cropped up about that. A bit of Ghislaine. Gizzy Rascal Maxwell. Because actually, some of you listening and watching this know that she has been refused bail, and it rumbles on. Because of course we're across that one and have been right since the Jeffrey Epstein days. Also a French rave, which has been going on till literally a couple of hours ago. It's been finally stopped. Illegal rave, We'll talk about that because we love things like that, don't we? Ben wanted to go to the illegal rave, didn't you, Ben?
I can assure you my raving days are long gone.
Oh, I don't know. Start raving mad.
Boom, boom.
And some surprises from 2020, weren't we? Things that surprised us.
Yeah, just a few little looking as I mean, 2020. Let's face it, was a shitstorm of a year, which nobody was happy about. We're just going to do a little bit.
I really enjoyed my 2020. I thought it was brilliant.
Okay. We're just going to do a little bit of a look back at some of the things that made us, I don't know, chuckle or whatever during 2020 as we surge forward into 2021.
Oh, and the biggest surprise, Ben sitting there. Hey, aren't we doing a Zoom? Aren't we going to record this visually? I was like, I just got back from the gym. All right, Ben.
I'm a bit pissed off now because I would love to go to the gym, but I'm in tier fucking 4.
Didn't let me finish, and now it's time to go. Have you heard that jingle of ours on our podcast?
Love jingles. You sing me one about.
I just sang it.
You did not let me finish, and now it's time to go.
That's the end of it. And that's in a Scottish accent. It has to be in a Scottish accent, but I didn't do that.
Oh, no, don't tell me.
What? What's my postcode? PL6 is Plymouth.
Yeah.
Can I just say, the gyms are still open, no classes, but it's a bit of an astonishing flaunting of the rules everywhere.
Oh, leisure facilities like gyms and swimming pools are open. Yeah, you're in tier 3. Fuck, you're so lucky. I'm really chewing my lip with envy now.
Well, that's why I look so smelly, because I've just come back from the gym. And you wanted me to go and cut. I thought I had the anonymity of audio.
Lady Ghislaine Maxwell didn't get her. Well, socialite Ghislaine Maxwell was refused a $28.5 million bail package by a US judge.
Why is that, Ben?
The judge in New York said that Ghislaine, who is awaiting trial on sex crime charges, poses a flight risk, and the offer did not assure her appearance of future hearings. It's the second time she's been denied bail. And I think what's interesting about that is that she's probably not used to being told no about anything. And actually being denied bail twice in a row probably sticks in her craw.
Maybe she is, and that's why she's so used to fleeing.
Yeah, maybe.
Because she just doesn't... I think there's the difference, that she just doesn't hear no.
It still makes me chuckle. I'm reading now from the BBC's website, actually. It says she has been in jail in Brooklyn, New York City since she was arrested in July 2020 at her secluded mansion in the state of New Hampshire. This is her own house. Lawyers suggested she had been hiding out at the mansion. It's like, unless she's got some kind of secret cupboard under the stairs, nobody hides at their own house. It just suggests that,
I do. I sometimes have to hide in the loo so that I can't be got by everyone. Where's this? What's in that cupboard? Why can't I find this? Like I'm the Chronicle. So maybe she feels like me. Chronicle? Is that the right word?
Is that what you're saying while you're sitting in the loo? Why can't I?
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. I'm a fugitive. A lugitive.
A pugitive.
Yeah. So yeah. I've got all this stuff about her offering to pay for guards to stop her fleeing from her own home. Thing is, you can't. Is it fair to be on the bail list because all your mates can trump up a humongous amount of bail? So what is it with bail that they stack it up just to stop you from being able to afford it? But with someone like her, isn't that shit, really? Because she can just get around it.
But there's no bail. Exactly, and that's why they haven't given her bail, because they judge, probably rightly, that there's no amount of bail that would be enough to mean that she couldn't afford to flee. So that's
yes, well, perfect, good.
Anyway, her lawyers objected to her prison conditions, saying she was subject to invasive searches and that guards disturbed her every 15 minutes to check she was still alive.
Oh, well, maybe, yeah.
Having to go through cavity searches every quarter of an hour.
Some people might like that.
No wonder they're worried she's going to flee. Who wouldn't want to flee that?
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, this story gets crazier and crazier. It's a bit like the Depp story.
It doesn't say whether the judges, whether the guards that she was going to have at her own house to prevent her escaping would also be carrying out cavity searches.
Yeah, I bet she got only the ones that she wanted to do the cavity searches at her house. You, and you.
You had to do cavity search auditions.
What classifies as it cavity search? Oh yeah, okay. I kind of answered my own question there. Cavity. There's no one like my cavity. My cavity's not there.
There's no hole like my cavity.
Okay, we've got our first FNAR of. I can't say 2021. It's a bit weird.
What?
2021's a bit weird. It doesn't trip off the tongue, does it?
Are you already feeling weird?
Yeah. No, 2021 doesn't trip off the tongue.
I think it literally just did.
Oh my God, you're faster than me today because I've got a stinking cold and I can't think. Right, bye. Let's bin Ghislaine.
It on the coal.
Oh, well, we're gonna, okay, without boring everyone to tears, we're gonna tickle your fancy with Brexit today.
Oh God.
But first,
I hate Brexit. What a fucking stupid idea.
Lisa Montgomery, I'm sure that rings a bell with some of you guys. Only woman on US federal death row to face execution.
I mean, to be fair, I'm just looking at this photo of her on a Reuters photo of her.
Okay.
And she clearly appears to have no discernible chin whatsoever.
Is that what it is? I never understand when people have no chin because I think, oh, there's something there, but I don't understand what's missing.
She's got a Div 2 chin, which is like no chin whatsoever.
A tier 2.
Her lower lip basically just sticks out and then extends straight down into her neck.
Well, she did awful things.
I'll tell you what, they couldn't hang her. The noose would just slip off.
Well, anyway, I think it's going to be electrocution, isn't it?
Is it? Hang on. Where is she being?
So, a US appeals court's lifted a stay of execution on the only woman awaiting a federal death penalty. Lisa Montgomery strangled a pregnant woman in Missouri before cutting out and kidnapping the baby in 2004. If the execution goes ahead, she'll be the first female federal inmate to be put to death in almost 70 years. Montgomery's execution date was originally set for last month, but a stay was put in place. That's what I need to ask you, Ben, after her attorneys contracted COVID-19. Didn't know that bit. Okay, it was then rescheduled for 12th of January by Justice Department. Montgomery's lawyers argued that the date could not be set while a stay was in place. Okay. So it's hovering, is it?
Yeah, so in essence, her lawyers say that she has been diagnosed with various serious mental illnesses which stem from a history of abuse, and that for that reason she was not of sound mind when she committed this absolutely hideous crime. I mean, she murdered a pregnant woman and then cut out that pregnant woman's 8-month fetus and claimed it was her own child.
It can't. It's beggars belief.
It does beg a belief, yes. I mean, that one stopped you in your tracks.
Don't say things like that, just because you can see my gormless face.
Anyway, so she, I mean, there's a heinous crime. It was an awful crime. All the appeals that she has attempted, or her legal people have attempted, have now been rejected. Now, Donald Trump... Did
you know? Yeah, you're just getting onto that bit. Go on.
Well, Donald Trump, the outgoing president, has ordered that I think more than a dozen executions that were scheduled take place before he leaves office. Now, this is a massive change to normal procedure, because normally it's accepted that once a president has lost the popular vote and lost the election, which happened in November, of course, that kind of doesn't mean they no longer have a mandate to order people put to death. And it's every single president until now has halted death sentences pending the arrival of a new president with his authority or her authority hasn't been a her, of course, his authority to carry out these sentences. But Trump is pushing ahead with a number of death sentences, including the one to Lisa Montgomery. Now, the only thing that's still available to her is clemency. Now, clemency is not something like a pardon. Clemency is purely where a governor, a president, or an administrative board can halt an execution purely on the basis of showing mercy to the accused.
Oh.
That could still happen.
Does that happen?
It could do. Now, she is scheduled to be put to death in January, and she is scheduled, I think, to be put to death just a couple of days before Joe Biden is actually sworn in as the new president. I'm not sure what date that is. I have it here somewhere.
Well, if it's rescheduled for the 12th of January, then
yeah,
it'd be around the 14th.
Yeah, that's right. So
in time for my birthday.
Of January, and Biden is due to be sworn in a few days after that, I think.
Oh, on my birthday, I hope so.
What, her execution or Biden being sworn
in?
Yeah,
I love an execution on my birthday.
Another candle to blow out.
Thank you, Santa.
Wow. So, I mean, the thing is, I suppose we all find the death penalty and execution fascinating. Well, obviously, we don't have it in the UK, thank goodness. Although I did read recently that Priti Patel has been looking at consulting on the possibility of reintroducing it in the UK.
Oh, she should be a bit careful.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty pissed off with Britain anyway with this whole Brexit. And so if that happens, I think I'll be fucking off to Italy to live with the rest of my family.
Yeah, well, you told me you were too lazy to look into getting your passport. So yeah. What do you want?
No, you're right.
I
consider myself British. I like Britain. I love being here. And until very recently, I felt really proud of Britain. Now I don't so much. But that's by the by.
Shall we use that? Sorry to interrupt. Carry on. Don't let you finish. Go.
If Britain becomes a country that not only wants to cut itself off from Europe, and sort of no longer be closely linked with our closest trading partner, but also wants to become a country that reinstates the death penalty, then that really is barbaric, and I just would not. That wouldn't be the country that I recognise.
Says the man who watches beheading videos in his spare time.
Yeah, part of my job, I haven't watched one since I left the BBC.
I love winding you up on that one. It always works.
Well, I mean, I don't mind watching beheading videos. They're part of what you need to do sometimes as a journalist. It's not always pretty. I mean,
not always Priti Patel.
I'd say very few beheading videos are pretty, actually.
Mine would be. I've got a really good long neck.
You have. You'd be a beheader's dream.
I know. You'd love to see me beheaded. Right. That segues us on quite nicely into things that are going to change with Brexit, just the interesting things and the things that we care about. Because I don't know about you, but when I see Brexit, I just see reams. I mean, I know that other people have seen a few reams of paperwork when it's come to these changes, but practicalities, what are you going to have to, how's it affecting your life, Ben?
Okay, so a couple of ways. I mean, I want to go and see my folks in Italy, and now I'm going to have to ball ache around health insurance and all that sort of shit. I'll probably have to queue for longer at the airport, but that's fairly trivial. The other thing is, as you know, I have a small little business importing collectibles, and we have lots of customers in Europe, and I used to just put them in an envelope, take the post office, and that was it, job done. Now I'm having to sort of fill in customers' forms, all this bollocks. So it's just adding ball ache. All that Brexit has done, as far as I can tell, is add ball ache. It hasn't improved anything. Let's face it, there's not going to be extra money for the NHS. If anybody thought there was, they're kidding themselves.
I think they might have realised that.
Yeah, no. It might possibly improve some issues around things like intellectual property and things like that, where Britain can maybe go its own way and be a bit less restrictive than Europe. I know that some areas around technology, European legislation has been quite restrictive, which is one reason why sort of Silicon Valley in the States has been able to advance ahead of Europe, despite us having equally good brains. But beyond that, all it is just festering ball ache after festering ball ache. But never mind, it is what it is. It's done now.
Well, perhaps it'll be a bit harder for us to join in French raves. What do you think?
Holland, anyway.
Yeah, sorry, I was talking at the same time as you. It's quite interesting watching your lips move but not being able to hear what you're saying, because I've realised this is great part of Zoom, that it just lets me listen to myself.
I just said to you, How is Brexit going to affect you when you when you can? I just said to you, how is Brexit going to affect you when you can just fuck off to Holland anyway?
Fucking up to Holland, fucking up to Holland. Everyone's got to stop being so lazy.
Yeah, okay. Well, I know I am very lazy.
How is it going to affect immigration here? And what are the pain in the ass things? Okay, you have to do a lot of paperwork to post stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
what are the
holidays? It's going to affect holidays, and I'm not going to wait in queues. And then if I go with friends, they will have to.
Yeah. If you're going on holiday, you're going to have to queue at passport control. If you go on holiday, you need to sort out health insurance as well as travel insurance, because you're no longer covered by the what was that little card we used to have?
Oh, EHIC.
Yeah, EHIC. That's it.
EHIC.
No longer covered by that. It's just one ball ache after another. It really is. But
yes.
Hang on.
It is one ball ache after the other. And actually, I think it'll be the very people who were supporting Brexit who will be hit by it in practical terms.
Oh, there's going to be limit. Okay, duty free. Do you remember you used to go to?
Yes.
Right. Well, do you remember you used to go on booze cruises to France, and you could bring back as much booze as you could carry?
You used to smoke, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
How happy were you coming back from duty free with the big boxes of fags?
Yeah, but the thing is, all you could bring back was 200. You were limited. And then when we entered the EU, it became unlimited. And so people going on booze cruises to France and going to supermarkets and hypermarkets and bringing back carfuls and vanfuls of booze. That's all gone. We're back to having limits now. Admittedly, they're quite high. You can bring back 18 litres of wine and 42 litres of beer.
Well, that was my New Year's resolution to start smoking again, so maybe I won't. Oh, I'm being really funny. All right, is that enough Brexit?
Yeah, I'm bored of it.
I just wanted to have a bit of... Yeah, I was bored of it to start with, but I just think it's quite interesting the way it's materialising now it's actually happened.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about naughty people at raves.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
France's COVID curfew-busting rave finally busted. It was in direct violation of protocols to slow the spread of coronavirus. More than 1,200 people have been fined for not respecting, where are they? Northwestern France.
They're at Lyon near Rennes in Brittany. And what I love is the way that some of them apparently were saying they planned to party until Tuesday. I mean, hang on. So New Year's Eve was Thursday night into Friday.
I know. Encore du party.
Well, sorry, but even when I was a young... I mean, I'm a very, very old person now. But even when I was a young...
Oh, yes, you are.
Partying for what? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5 days straight would have just filled me with dread. I'd have been like, oh God, look, I've been at this party for about 5 hours now. I've had enough. I want to go home. I want a bag of chips or a kebab, and I want to go home.
Yeah.
Shout.
Why is it saying now that, hang on, it said more than two, okay, so there were 1,200 people, the Interior Minister said, but this rave had 2,500.
Well, some parties in the UK and Spain.
Well, thousands of people are partying in France. But do you know what I find quite strange? Is it because they don't care about catching... I know this is a bit of a naive question, but if you're young and you catch COVID, because you've said that to me when I've said about going into work, you were like, well, so what? You get COVID. You're young and healthy and that's okay. Listen to me now. Dying, but not of COVID. Unfortunately, I didn't have a temperature, so I had to go into work.
On the BBC website, there's a photo of a young woman with sort of like a big puffer jacket, a multicoloured scarf and pink hair being apparently questioned by two cops. And one of them, it just says Gendarmerie Nationale on the back of his jacket. The other one, it says Gendarmerie Brigade de Recherches. Now, I thought recherche meant sort of weird or odd or strange.
Oh, does it?
It's like he's a part of the weird brigade of the police.
We should get some of them.
I'd love to be in the weird brigade.
It's all right, Ben. I think you're there.
Or the odd patrol. How about
the YTLMF brigade is the weird brigade.
That's the odd patrol.
Well, I know that because people who start to make contact with us are definitely tainted by the weird brush, and I feel right at home.
Well, they've had the weird brush on their taint.
Local. Every time I can't say that word without you. You're such a sort of parent, really. You, Mr. Parent Daddy.
What
Right.
was that?
Local gendarmes said they tried to they tried to break up the party, faced fierce hostility from many partygoers. Oh no, no, you break it up, you guys. Oh no, we party on, encore une fois.
I read this sentence which made me chuckle. It said, police trying to stop the event faced fierce hostility from many partygoers. And it says, a driver was apprehended with turntables, speakers and a generator. And I read that and thought he was sort of, they threw turntables and speakers to stop
At him.
The rest says it's in the boot of his vehicle.
Like a board rubber at school when you were talking. Oh.
Yeah.
What did you get thrown at you at school? I bet you were a naughty one.
A human beatbox. I got thrown at me.
I'm sorry.
I said,
a person.
Because every rave will always have a human beatbox there.
Go on, do it. You want to do human. Men are obsessed with human beatboxing.
C'est bon? Hyper bon. Hyper bon.
Awful though, aren't they?
Do you remember that one at Shepherd's Bush Station?
I do. That was that. I remember we were talking about it.
We'd actually walk towards it. Our faces would go like this. And then we go, should we walk around because it's a bit noisy? This is like two deaf people. Okay, right. That's that done. What surprises did we have in 2020?
Would you want to go first, or do you want me to start?
Oh, I just wanted to say that I'm really excited by the fact that I'm now in Plymouth, where we could have gone to the continent by ferry, but the ferries go to Brittany. So, oh, Ben, you've come back. So this rave was basically inviting, if I would have known about it, I could have hopped on the ferry. Except I am a bit ill, so maybe it's not a good idea with a 4-year-old. There you go. I just want to say the ferry fact, because I should make the most of that. I'm trying to find a way to incorporate it into travels so that I don't have to go on a plane. I think planes are incredibly unsafe at the moment.
Why?
I don't want to be in a confined space with an air conditioning unit recycling air. Do you fancy that?
I wouldn't care, to be honest.
Oh, look at you.
I don't care. I mean, if you're going to get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Unless you're very old, grotesquely fat, or you've got like...
Well, that's you done for.
Or you've got guns, then you get it. You have a cough for a few days. It might be a bit nasty, but the bottom line is you'll be all right at the end of the day.
Right. I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover, except the surprises, the things that took us aback.
Your surprise first.
My surprise was the guests that we had. I know you're going to talk about Ali Livingstone, and I wanted to talk about him, so maybe I'll jump on the bandwagon with that. But the first one, DCI Colin Sutton, who apprehended, I'm going to ignore you, who apprehended the night stalker, Delroy Grant. That he was so calm. And I thought also he nabbed Levi Bellfield as well. And I said to him, did you ever did anything ever give you flashbacks when you'd had to, investigate these heinous crimes that, certainly Delroy Grant, raping and stealing from elderly people who was so, they were not wanting to bother the police and come forward. So a lot of them stayed anonymous, but just hundreds of crimes over a long period of time. And finding out about those kind of things, and he left the job at work, that really taught me something. I think that that's quite a healthy thing to do, although maybe it does catch up with you in the end. So however calm he was really quite impressive. And I think it really helped him in doing his job so well, which he did to catch those two. Another one, Mark Williams-Thomas, probably the other end of the spectrum. So he came and joined us right at the beginning of the podcast. And he liked saying MO, his modus operandi was one of really getting involved with the families of the victims, for example. And one of them, bear with me a moment while I get the article up, because I don't want to say anything which is incorrect. Jessie Earl, who disappeared when she was 22 in May 1980, and she had her wrists tied with a bra, and that's the title of our podcast from the interview. But Mark Williams Thomas has just gone all out to help her parents, John and Valerie, and, you know, forged a close relationship with them, and has helped the campaign to the Attorney General about the case, saying, if you have your wrist tied with a bra, can you really record, what was the technical term for it? No verdict, or?
Open verdict.
Open verdict. And not find anybody guilty, you know.
To be fair, when they found the body of Jessie Earl, 9 years between her disappearing and the body being found. And obviously, when she
At
first
Beachy Head, wasn't it?
Verdict was recorded, because there was, and the body was very badly decomposed, of course, of the period of time that had gone by. But then, when the Sussex police reinvestigated, they declared it a case of murder.
Right, but nobody's been found guilty of the murder, presumably because of the status of the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, there was no evidence there, and they clearly haven't been able to, you know, find any kind of reason to link it to anybody, as we know.
Well, Mark Williams Thomas would contest that, but I mean, the details in
Thomas believes that it was carried out by Peter Tobin.
We always have a bit of a tip of the tongue Tobin there, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't want to go too much into the detail of the case, but I find it interesting how he really gets behind people and becomes quite emotive about the cases. And it certainly helps him keep them alive, because he's very persistent and energetic about it. So he was a great guest for that reason, amongst others.
And my surprises, I suppose, were just talking to Ali Livingstone. I knew Ali Livingstone because, of course, having helped him with his book, but just hearing him talk about how he you know, got over his mental breakdown and sort of fought his way back to mental health, and now got himself a job working in a school in pastoral care. That was really, I think that was an eye-opener to me as well, about how, you know, the stresses of being a police officer and can just suddenly catch up with you. Can suddenly just, you know, you go from being somebody who thinks they're totally in control of themselves and of their life to being, you know, to being not in control. And I thought that was really interesting. And that was a big surprise.
Well, one step further in that he actually admits it. And he came, you know, from having to do your job like that, which must involve a lot of suppressing of emotions. So maybe from the Colin Sutton extreme, you know, to the other side of things, that he had to open the floodgates in order to admit that he was struggling. That's kind of a surprise for me, to go from Supercop to somebody saying, look, it's affecting my mental health. That's takes some strength.
We have lived in a sort of a culture where certain jobs, and I would include the police in this, are sort of perceived as being macho, and where people don't talk about how it might impact on them, or tend not to. And I think for someone like Alistair to take the initiative in that way and be open about it, you know, that is the sort of thing that will slowly change attitudes and maybe make the whole profession a more healthy profession for people to choose in terms of their mental health.
From super cop to super aware cop.
Oh,
I commend him for that.
Good.
No,
Okay,
it takes some guts to do that, I thought. So well done, Ali.
21.
That's what? Let's hear it for 2021.
Here we are. We're in the new year. New year, new you.
Oh, yeah, and you wanted to tell us about your Christmas presents, then we can all go home.
The most exciting Christmas present I got was a dishwashing one. That just about sums up 2020 for me.
Is that a wand that you wave and then the dishes are done?
Oh, I wish. No, it's one of those fancy ones.
Or is that a wife?
It's got like a replaceable head, and then the handle is hollow, and you undo the cap and you put washing liquid in. You screw it up again. Then when you wash, the washing liquid sort of self-dispenses.
That's basically like one of those $2.99ers from Lidl.
Yeah, and I'm very happy with mine, thank you.
But it's designer.
Well,
and that's why you want to talk about it. God, I can't believe how frushy Juju you've become.
Okay, I wouldn't go so far as to say it was designer. It's just that it did come with a label that said Masterclass Dishwashing on it. Which
Well,
I
is
thought,
somebody trying to make a comment about your washing up, Ando?
well, quite
Or lack
possibly.
of? Are you not a washer-upper?
Maybe it's not the fact that I do it, it's the fact that I don't do it very well. I don't know.
My mother used to get... Well, that shows you, doesn't it, that her brothers used to tell her off for not doing the washing up properly.
Her brothers did.
Yes. So well,
Love
that's
that.
what happened in 1940s Holland when you weren't a good enough scullery maid.
Was that when she had to go and polish the clogs?
I don't think that they would polish them because they would sort of... That side of the family were quite working class, I'd say. So the clogs stayed a bit scuffed because they were working the land.
Oh, is that how you would sort of like define whether you were posh or not, whether your clogs were shiny?
Well, hopefully, as long as you haven't popped them, you're all right. I don't really know much. I did have a pair of clogs, but I've grown out of them, and now, of course, we're all wearing Crocs instead, aren't we, Ben?
Are we all wearing Crocs?
Now
Is
we've
that what
got an
we're doing?
image of you from BBC correspondent to Croc-wielding, washing-up wand man.
I know, and life has never been better. Anyway, on that note, I'll say goodbye.
And a
See you
happy
next
new year to you all.
year.
Oh, yes, and a happy new year to everybody who's been so nice to us, Ben. You're so crap at acknowledging all our lovely friends.
Thank you to everybody who's been so nice to us.
Yes, we love you very much. And yes, you didn't let me finish podcast@gmail.com. Should we get a new email for this year?
Go for it, by all means.
All right.
Bye.